What's up, guys? Welcome back to 3 Up, 3 Down. Coming to you live on a Monday before the Monday Night Football game. We got an off day today for the Cardinals, which is a relief to everybody watching this video. After a spirited series win against Milwaukee, the Cardinals laid a total egg against the Mariners, who I told you guys couldn't score. Well, I didn't factor in certain things that we're going to discuss later in this video. So that, it was a tough weekend to be a Cardinals fan for sure. Obviously, you could distract yourselves with the football on Saturday and Friday and Thursday and Sunday. But yeah, it wasn't a great weekend to be a Cardinals fan. I know that just last week I told you guys we're going to talk downs first, but we've got to flip the script this week. We got to talk ups first because I need to get into the downs. We're going to dive deep into a specific down that I know everybody wants to talk about. My first up, Pedro Feliz. Pretty much since the moment I said I don't really want to see him play anymore, he's been hitting. Big 2-run homer Saturday night. You'd hope that they could carry that momentum into Sunday. They couldn't, but that's okay. I still am really interested to see what they do with the catcher's position going forward. They have 3 guys under club control next year. They've got Wilson, Herrera, and Pages. You got to make a choice on Herrera at some point. I feel like this is like year 4 for him, kind of being like he's in the mix, but he's not in the mix, and then he's going to do 2 months in Memphis. So I'm really curious to see what they do there. My preference would be Contreras and Herrera. They need bats. Those guys can both hit. I understand that the pitchers like throwing to Pages, but I don't think the glove gives you enough to justify it. My second up is Kyle Gibson. I think Gibson, first of all, he's nailed Saturday night. Great start. He's had a really interesting season to me because it does feel like every time I'm kind of starting to think, I can trust this guy. He's going to give me 5 to 6 strong. He goes out and lays an egg. He dealt with the back injury. He was on bereavement leave earlier this year, paternity leave this year. So, it's been a really interesting year for Gibson. He's had 154 innings, 27 starts, 8 Ks per 9, and a 4.2 ERA. What I find so interesting about it is they've got a club option on him next year, and I don't think they're going to pick up Lynn's, but I do think they're going to pick up Gibson's. He's going to end up around 170 innings at a 4.2-ish ERA. Like, if you had told them that from the jump at the beginning of the season, I think they would have taken that, and I think they would have said, yes, we are picking up that option. My third up, I feel like I say it every week, guys, but Hesley is unbelievable. 43 saves. We got to get him 6 more and get the club record. I just feel like he deserves it. That guy is so good. I still really haven't gotten over what he did in Milwaukee. I know I talked about it on the last video, so we're not going to dive too much further into that. The thing that interests me about Hesley is I'm really interested to see what they do with him this offseason. He has 1 year left of club control and arbitration. He's going to make a boatload of money. And the Cardinals have tended to not pay relievers. They DFA'd Trevor Rosenthal before his 3rd year of ARB. Now, he had an elbow thing, so it depends a lot on these guys, but they're going to come to a decision on Hesley at some point here where they're probably going to have to trade him or extend him. You got to think about it this way. And if they don't think the club is going to be very good next year, which I'm really curious to see what they do, I think they're going to trade him because Hesley is probably the guy on the club right now that is the most elite. He is the best at his position relative to all of the other guys at the position. I think he's going to get you a ton, especially if you trade him in the offseason so another team gets him for a full year. I knew a lot of people wanted to trade him in July and just load up on prospects. But I think they're going to move him. That would be my guess if I had to guess today. If they don't extend him at a good number, which they just don't like paying relievers. They just don't do it. It seems like when they do it, it doesn't go well. So Andrew Miller, Brett Cecil are 2 that come to mind. So I think you're going to see him walk, which is a bummer. Or not walk. I think he's going to be traded, which is a bummer because he is a really good pitcher. But I think they could get a haul for him. Pitching prices have changed a little bit. I looked at some comps. I thought Chapman when he was moved in 16, Andrew Miller when he was moved in 16. But those guys were both moved for top of the org prospects. I don't think you're getting that anymore for Hesley. The way the game has changed, the way teams kind of hoard prospects more than they used to. But you could still go out and get an impact outfielder, an impact center fielder from the Orioles. The Orioles always need bullpen help. They're still relying on Craig Kimbrell. I'm surprised they didn't push for Hesley in July. I would have if I was the Orioles because they're in a chance to win right now. But this offseason is going to be really interesting. Those that were super tuned in, remember, I told you guys 3 weeks ago, Gary LaRocque was out. He was going to retire. I guess I didn't say it very firmly, but it's official. He is retiring. So I do find it really interesting to see what they're going to do this offseason. I don't think it's a given Mo is back. He will be on the staff somewhere, but I'm not sure he will be the decision maker next year. I think Keim Bloom is very involved. And anytime you bring a new guy in, it's really interesting to see who else they bring in. I think you have to bring in somebody from the outside to run the farm, to take over from LaRock. Just change the scenery, change your voice, mix up the message a little bit here. Because if all they do is replace LaRock with someone who is similar, you're not going to see anything different. I think Keim is going to be big there. Let's talk the downs, the standings. Yeah, it's probably over. They're 6 back. To get to 88 wins, which is the magic number, the Cardinals have to go 16-4. Atlanta and New York would just have to go 10-9. It's going to be tough to go 16-4. I don't think they've had a stretch that good since probably the 17-game winning streak. Really tough to do. My second down, let's talk starting pitchers. Right now in the staff, the Cardinals have 2 guys. Well, Matz, I guess, isn't in the rotation right now. Right now, they've got a guy and a half that I can't get anywhere near. So what I did was, this was a laborious task, but after work today, I tiered every Cardinals starting pitcher to make a start since 2011. I'm going to try and rip through these. Some we can agree, some we can disagree. I'll dive into a few. My first tier, ace. Wainwright, Flaherty, Waka, Carpenter. No brainer. My second tier, no complaints. Gibson, Gray, Fetty, Happ, Wade LeBlanc, who saved the 2021 season. Jaime Garcia, Kyle Loesch, and Edwin Jackson. My third tier, I wish we'd had more time together. Jordan Montgomery, Jose Quintana. I think both those guys would still be really good fits. I know Montgomery's had a down year. My fourth tier, traded for a superstar. Austin Gomber, Luke Weaver, Marco Gonzalez, Shelby Miller. You can nitpick with the bottom 2, but Tyler Ward was a 6-WAR player. Tyler O'Neill was a 6-WAR player. Jason Hayward was a 6-WAR player. Mike Myers, his tier, that start. John Gast, his tier, not John Gant. Drew Rom, Packy Naughton, Genesis Cabrera, Tyson Ross, Tim Cooney, Miguel Bautista, Brandon Dixon. No recollection. Justin Masterson, literally had 1 good start. Daniel Ponce de Leon almost had a no-hitter in his debut, so we think way too fondly on his Cardinals career. Zach Thompson, Dakota Hudson, Jake Woodford. First-round picks who weren't very good. Steven Matz, John Gant, Mike Leake, Nick Greenwood. I would never want this guy starting a game. Tyler Lyons, Jake Westbrook. I would only want this guy starting big games, no normal games. Lance Lynn. Andre Palante, Johan Oviedo, KK, and Joe Kelly. Relievers who were actually pretty decent at starting. Matthew Liberatore, Jordan Hicks, Kyle McClellan. Better as a reliever. Graceffo and McGreevy. Give me more of these guys and less of the guy we're going to talk about here in a minute. Carlos Martinez and Alex Reyes. John Lester, John Lackey. Both guys that I loathed until they were Cardinals. And then I couldn't get enough of them. And then I was so sad when they were gone. Oh, I hated John Lackey. But then 2015 John Lackey was elite. My last and least tier, Miles Mikolas. Got a $40 million extension and has had an ERA of 5.12 since. I'm done. I will not watch another Mikolas start this year. That's a promise. I will watch the offense. I will find a way to make sure I know what happened in those games. I will not watch Miles Mikolas start again this year. He is terrible. Every time something goes wrong, he had a start earlier this year where I think he got called for a balk when he definitely balked. And he was like, I'm mad. So then he threw 3 pitches, 97, for no reason whatsoever. I'm done with it. I agree with everybody else that says they need to DFA him. It's a sunk cost. Get rid of him. He is not going to give you anything next year. You already have Steven Matz who you're going to have to deal with missing 3 months next year. I loathe watching him. He had a good 2018. He had a great 2018. You know what? He had a great 2018. But since then, it has just not been worth it. He was fine in 19. He was fine in 22. But I can't stand watching him. The attitude's terrible. The results are even worse than the attitude. I'm done. Let me know what you guys think about the tiers. I'm going to tweet the link, tweet the picture as well. As always, thanks for the feedback on the last video. Let me know what you guys think. Looking forward to talking with you after the week is over.